Giorgia Meloni's expression, "Make the West Great Again," as a negotiation invitation to Donald Trump, who did not reject it. To integratively connect his Make America Great Again opens a scenario of Euro-American convergence that ignites the strategic hope of gradually building an integrated G7 market and a G7. This architecture, which I would define as Nova Pax, would become the new and strong pillar of economic confidence on a global scale. The first step toward this historical direction requires both the recognition by America that it needs allies and the willingness of Europeans and Japan to understand that America itself has an objective need to rebalance trade flows with the world and reduce military engagement, ensuring that the allies themselves spend more on regional and global security. Trump will never openly admit that America needs allies, but recent actions by his administration show that he is pursuing this path. Europeans and Japan are demonstrating an initial willingness to converge with America toward a precursor agreement for a potential free trade treaty with decreasing tariffs and trade barriers. The EU already has such a treaty with almost zero tariffs and reduced non-tariff barriers with Japan and Canada, and both these nations have an economic treaty with Washington, although the free trade treaty with Canada is temporarily suspended. The United Kingdom is preparing a free trade agreement with the EU but without giving up its privileged relationship with Washington. Therefore, it is a matter of repairing and refining an already existing structure of agreements rather than inventing an entirely new one. Meloni's action has opened a negotiation path among these national actors different from the one underway until a few days ago. Japan, to strengthen its deterrent power in negotiations with America, has signed a pre-agreement with South Korea and China with strong convergence symbolism. The EU has announced its intention to impose heavy counter-tariffs if America confirms those against the EU itself. Meloni, however, with the expression mentioned at the beginning, has pointed to a path not of confrontation between deterrents but of balanced convergence within a unified system of interests. This step reopens the study of a geopolitical and geoeconomic architecture that offers balanced advantages to the G7 nations and their allies, as well as compatible countries. For example, a global NATO, a gradual negotiation formula, functionalism, with the goal of a prospective integrated G7 market with new inclusions, and a meta-currency based on an exchange agreement among the US and Canadian dollars, euro, pound, and yen, the credit. This latter object of study is essential, albeit prospective, to make trade exchange networks solid and stable. However, on the European side, apart from the difficulty of abandoning certain protectionist measures, there is an issue of rigidity regarding economic treaties under the EU's competence. They are proposed by the Commission, approved by the Intergovernmental Council, and subjected to the consent of national parliaments, in some cases even of subnational regions. This architecture is rigid and contrasts with the functionalist method of making agreements step by step. Here, Europeans should become highly innovative. Another issue for Europeans and Asian allies is the United States' priority to contain and, I believe, influence China's global expansion. On one hand, it serves as a bargaining chip for Europeans, Japanese, and other allies to achieve convergence with America. On the other hand, Germany has a dependence on the Chinese market that, although declining, remains strong, and France seeks to maintain a relationship with China to position the EU as an independent bloc between America and China, two nations effectively engaged in economic warfare, which is also a significant reason why America needs allies. To find solutions, a noteworthy development should be highlighted. Italy is transitioning from a passive international relevance since 1945 to an active one, with the goal of achieving a convergence of democracies as a tool for national global projection. This could yield tangible results. www.carloplanda.com